Well, hello there. Hello and welcome to another episode of the SA Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho. I've got Tim Delace here with me. Tim, how are you doing?
My body clock is already getting... I know this is a South African Cricket Podcast, but my body clock is already preparing me for 4 a.m. for the rest of the week for the Ashes.
Yeah, look.
So I'm mentally tired because I know that that's what I'm going to do because, you know me, I love my cricket. But otherwise, I'm all right.
Look, it's Ashes Eve and my body clock's always is there too. I'm excited for that first ball tomorrow at 20 past 4 South African time. I don't understand why it's 20 past 4, but anyway, I'm not going to complain. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting time watching other people beat each other up in India and Australia. But most importantly, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about South African cricket, and that's what our podcast is. We talk all things South African cricket. You can follow us on X at South African Cricket Pod on X. Everything's in the strap line below. But for our audio listeners who find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at South African Cricket Pod, you can find us there. And also we're on YouTube. Please do like and subscribe on YouTube. And then finally, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee /SA Cricket Pod. I need to put up the QR code. We haven't been putting it up for a while now. But you can use your phone, click there, and support us. Thank you very much for all the contributions we received so far. It's helped us rebrand. It's helping us bring more content to you and also be at the games. Tim goes to the games. I also try to go to the games on this side of the world to give you first-hand insight into what's going on in South African cricket. And a couple of things that are happening in South African cricket right now is South Africa is in India. The men's team is in India. They are playing their second test tomorrow on Saturday. And so please do check out the previous episode for any previews to the game and discussions around what happened in the first test. We do know that Rishabh Pant is not, Shubman Gill's not playing, and Rishabh Pant will be captain. It's just a question of who is it, Devdutt Padikkal, is it Sai Sudarshan, or Nitish Kumar Reddy, who comes in to that Indian side, or any other changes to the side for Guwahati, the purchase that landed in Guwahati yesterday. So that's pretty much what it is. The SAA series is also there, Tim, and they are in the midst of a battle there. It is 1-1 in the tests. They got 1-1 in the test and they got 2-1 in the ODIs. They played really well in the last ODI, and we'll talk about that towards the back end of the show, so please do hold on. Today's show is about the CSA T20 Knockout and the challenge, CSA T20 Challenge. The knockout is in playoff mode. We've actually gotten 2 more games left in the knockout, and we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the T20 Challenge. But we'll start with Division 1 in the T20 Challenge. A lot of things has happened, Tim, in the T20 Challenge. Lots of surprises, but most importantly, the teams that are eliminated right now in the T20 Challenge, as you look at the log, are the Lions, who are sitting at the bottom on 2 points, and the Tuskers, who are sitting with 4 points. They do not have a mathematical chance of making it into the playoffs.
As well as Northwest. They're out as well.
Yes. Yes, Northwest can only get to... Oh, they've played the 7 games. Okay, yes. And they've gotten to 10 points. The Titans have to win their next game by a bonus point to make it into the playoffs. And that next game is against the Dolphins. So effectively, that looks like it's a quarterfinal game to get them into the playoffs. And so they have one more last chance. But sitting at the top, before we start talking about anything else, is the Warriors sitting pretty at the top. 5 wins, 1 loss on 26 points. Boland, 6 games, 5 wins and a loss on 22 points. Western Province, 4 wins and 2 losses on 18 points. And the Dolphins, having played 5 games, 3 wins and 2 losses on 14. The Dolphins have 2 shots at the cherry. The Titans have 1 shot at the cherry. But even if the Dolphins lose to the Titans tomorrow, they still have a chance against the Lions on Sunday. But it's been a topsy-turvy tournament. The big teams have suffered. The smaller teams have come to the fore. And my, oh my, Tim, have the Boland really come through. What has impressed you about Boland and the Warriors in this format. Traditionally, in the franchise, in the historically, not traditionally, historically, they have struggled in this format and haven't been able to, kind of take advantage of for Boland, their home comforts, in terms of the fact that they've got a flat pitch and they have a bowling attack to kind of help them there. And they haven't been able to do it historically, but this year they have. And then the Warriors, who have all the talent in the world, but just never were able to bring it out.
Well, simply put, the top three league run scorers of the challenge this season so far is Matthew de Villiers with 298 runs at 59, JP King with 203 at 67, and Mohamed Manak at 198 runs at 33, with also significantly impressive strike rates. That's where they've done it.
Yeah. And but what's changed, Tim? Because my thing is, they've had these players before. Ooh. Just waiting to see if Tim comes through. We've lost Tim there for a moment, but it's been very interesting to see how the Warriors have done. And Matthew de Villiers has been on a tear, having scored 4 innings of 50 plus at a strike rate of 139. JP King as well, 2 innings of 50 plus, but he's on 203. He's a youngster coming through that side. And then on top of that, you've got Mo Manak, who comes from the Lions, also a strike rate of 140. JP King's strike rate is 166. Tim, we've lost you there. Oh man, podcasting in this world, there's some gremlins happening, and I think it's not on my side, which is very interesting this time. But let's just take Tim back to the stage, and he will just let us know when he's back. But again, yeah. So, but then again, it's for me the thing for this year, and looking at Warriors. Firstly, we'll start with the Warriors. They had a really great win this week, and one of the key things against Boland, right? And we've been wondering which team was going to stop Boland, and it was them. They put up 209 in that game, and Boland were bowled out for 111. First bad game for Boland, because there was a point where you sat there, they've won 5 games in a row. Are they going to go undefeated with 2 games left? And yeah, look, some really good performances there by de Villiers and Mo Manak, as well as JP King. And I think they've gotten 3 strong. Here you are, Tim. They've got 3 strong batters in this. And we lost you at the point where you're telling us about JP King and the 3 batters. But my question to you, what's changed? Like, what's the difference now?
Season, they didn't have the leading run scorer in the competition, or they didn't in this competition. And memory slipping. I seem to be having. Are you hearing me still, Paul?
I am. I'm just losing you here and there, and we're just losing you here and there. I don't know what's going on with your Wi-Fi. Yours is normally good. Mine is always the problem.
Yeah, I see problems about.
Look, Tim. Tim, try to sort it out. I'll continue with the show, and yeah, let's see if we can get you in for some of the other parts. Okay, Tim is gone, but yeah. Look, I think one of the things is, I think what you want to talk about the top 2 is, the Warriors have put down a statement. Robbie P has done a really great job in getting the youngsters to play freely, and they are finally playing freely. You kind of felt that previously the Warriors were just a little bit uptight. They had the Harmans, they had all the great talents there. That side, Tristan Stubbs at one time did play T20s for them while not on Pro Tours duty, and you kind of thought that they could get there, right? And it was just unfortunate that they never did, right? But with some of their players playing in SAA, the Sheilah's out. It's freed up a lot of the youngsters and given them a lot of responsibility. I love what they've done with the King brothers, CJ King and JP King. They've done a really great job with them, and it's proven and it's shown. And it's sometimes you got to trust the youngsters, and the youngsters have come good. Another team that has done really well to trust the youngsters is Boland, right? Gavin Kaplan had a sensational start to the season. You also had Leon Botha coming in into that setup. This team is not a lot of youngsters, but a lot of experienced players, and they came through. It really did show for Boland, and they were unbeaten for 5 games. They lost their 6th game recently yesterday against the Warriors, but fundamentally, what a strong team Boland are. And if they can find a way to steal the number 1 spot from the Warriors in this tournament, they can host a home final and they'll be dangerous at home. And that's what they've been so far. They've just been dangerous at home. And then even away on some of the most iffy pitches, the pitches on the Highveld are not really ready yet. And so they're more conducive to lower scoring games, and then you get the bounce and the pace aren't necessarily there, and it's pulling them the Boland in. And it was an expert win against the Lions on Sunday. Or it was early on in the season actually, to beat them there. And so yeah, but then the other issue you have is what happened to the Lions, right? The Lions and the Titans, who in this situation have really struggled to bring it back. And you can say they've lost all their big players. Obviously, the Titans losing Rivaldo, they've lost Munsami, they've also lost Luandre Pretorius, and it's been tough going. But then you got to rely on the youngsters, you got to rely on the depth, and normally the depth at those levels is evident, and in this season it hasn't. For the Lions, the youngsters haven't come through, even though it is a mixture of the experienced players, Rassie van der Dissen, Riza, and Mitch van Buren with the Richard Seletswanes of the world, and the Wandile Makwetus. That hasn't come through as yet for the Lions, and it's just very baffling that a team with so many stars can't do it. On the Titans side, they're a little bit different. They're just reliant on their youngsters. Keegan Leon-Cachet looks a find and looks a player, but at the end of it all, he's still growing into it. And, again, it's very surprising. They did even try Joachim Skalkbeek, who started off well, and then he had to go to play the Hong Kong Sixers. So it's been very tough for the Titans and the Lions, but the Titans are still there. They have to beat the Dolphins with a bonus point, and they play them tomorrow at 1:30 at Centurion. So hopefully there's no rain there, because that would kill them, and that would be a bit of a problem. But so we've got that happening as well. And then another 2 dark horses. Western Province have steadily improved throughout the season. Joshua Breed, who's the leg spinner, has improved. He's now the number 3 wicket taker. The Western Province's batting core has taken to this T20 a lot better than it has in the 4-day series, and that's kind of helped them come into number 3. And then obviously you look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins started off like a house on fire, and they've tapered off with a couple of losses. Lies du Plooy was a great find. Arden Fouquet is still there. I still think they have the best bowling attack in the tournament, and they will cause problems should they make it into the playoffs. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they fare at Centurion, as well as in Durban when they host the Lions for the final game of the season. That's happening on Sunday. But yeah, let's go through some of the fixtures, the results, and then we'll go through some of the fixtures. There are some CSA T20 Knockout results here, and then we'll talk about that, right? So the CSA T20 Knockout is in its final stages. We had a qualifier where the Inyati, who finished in second place behind the Knights, took on the Knights in Bloem. They put up 140 for 7, but ended up losing to the Knights by 3 runs on Duckworth Lewis. Bongiseni Mhlanga taking 3 for 20. Jacques Neyman putting up a score of 36, chasing 76. So it was quite, it's still quite a significant knock. It's quite a dominant knock as well. It's good to see Jacques Neyman scoring runs there for the Knights. From a batting perspective, it wasn't great for the Iñati. Vian Rutvin with the highest score on 25 of 17 there. From a bowling perspective, it wasn't Bogiseni Maslanga taking 3 for 20, and then Ruben Dutoy of the Knights taking 2 for 33. Sisana Magala and Seth Fledermaus taking 1 wicket each. And then there was only a solitary wicket for Lihle Sizani as Toza Matodana, with the Knights making it through into the final, waiting for one of the winner of the final qualifier, which is happening tomorrow. Then we had the eliminator in the T20 Knockout, where the Garden Route Badgers, also known as Southwestern Districts, took on the Mpumalanga Rhinos. They beat them by 43 runs in that game. The Rhinos have outplayed themselves this season, managing to make the playoffs. And this is such another plus for a franchise I have so much time for. And if you're someone from the Rhinos and you want to chat, please do bring us through. Please do come through. Ron to Blanche scoring 50 off 29 in that game. You also had Ethan Engelbrecht 42 off 40 for the Badgers to push 152 for 6. Herman Rolfs of Mpumalanga taking 2 for 23 in that one. And then again, a batting card they won't be happy with, but Contu starts from Gareth Jukes, who scored 19 of 7, Mohammed Mayat 16 of 33, Herman Rolfs 16 of 18, John Henriksen at the end 23 of 9, could only get to the 109 in 19.2 overs. And bowling wise, the Garden Route Badgers, Liam Alder 3 for 7, and Mondli Kumalo 3 for 24, Baneletele 2 for 19, and they qualified. The Garden Route Badgers qualified for the final qualifier tomorrow, and the winner of that qualifier will go to Bloemfontein to play the Knights. And I'll talk about that in the fixtures portion of it all. Just want to bring the banner down. In the other games that happened yesterday, a monster game that happened yesterday was the game between Northwest Dragons and the Lions that went to a super over. And Ruan de Swart of the Northwest Dragons scoring 45 of 20, Yaneman Milan 56 of 43, Jay de Klerk bowling for the Dragons 3 for 12, Evan Jones scoring a 54 in that game. It went to a super over, which we've seen many super overs in this tournament, and one was a two over super over. Just to close out that that scorecard for the Lions, Rassie van der Dissen scoring 66 of 45 at the top of the order. It wasn't enough for the Lions to win. And then you went to a super over. Ruan de Swart bowling to Evan Jones and Connor Esterhazen. He got the wickets of Evan Jones as well as the wicket of Rassie van der Dissen, a 7 for 2. Northwest needed 8 to win in that super over. Lisiba Ngwepe and Bian Liba managed to get there very easily, with Evan Jones being the bowler there. And that was the end of the Lions season. And then obviously we spoke about the Warriors game yesterday against Boland. The Dafabet Warriors took on the Goldrush Boland. Matthew de Villiers scoring 50 of 37, Mohammed Manak 52 of 28, and JP King 46 of 23. Which again, it's those three players that Tim spoke about, right? Who have just stepped up in this tournament. Farisco Adams took 2 for 31 for Boland in that game. A wicket apiece for Keith Dudgeon, Akona Mnyaka, and Imran Manak. And then just to close out, Jedley Van Bessie scoring 22 of 21, Lahan Bota 25 of 14, and the Boland were bowled out for 111. Chris King, CJ King, 3 for 16. Apu Mnyanda 4 for 23, and Chris King's brother JP King 1 for 10, and Thomas Caber 2 for 18. Really lovely, very good. Thomas Caber was a good is a good spinner there coming out of the Warriors. Now, as Tim is entering the studio, let's add him to the stage. Let's see if he's working. Tim,
let's try
is everything
again.
Okay? Sounds better, much better. I just gone through the results. What are your thoughts on the two games that happened yesterday with the Lions and Northwest in that super over, and also finally Warriors versus Boland in that top of the table clash?
Well, obviously, I genuinely believe the difference for the Warriors, and I said before the internet cut me off, was Matthew de Villiers. The T20 competition has made a huge difference to the Warriors as a whole. JP King as well has to be commended as well. But for me, it's that Lions game. That Lions game against the Northwest. Northwest not playing for anything. They're playing for their pride. They didn't have a chance of sneaking into the qualifiers, to eliminators. How the Lions botched that, I will never know. Yes, with 3 or 4 overs to go before the super over, you would think Northwest are going to clinch it because the bowling was very, very good. But then Evan Jones does what I think we need to see much more of him, because that's what he did yesterday with the bat is why I thought he should be playing for South Africa in this format. Just goes into overdrive, changes the game, and it's in their hands. It is literally in their hands. They need 2 or 3 deliveries. They've got Mitch van Buren coming in, and I think the other one was Saratswani. I don't understand why you don't just go drop and run. You just go, and if it goes through to the keeper, Evan Jones runs, because we need Evan Jones on strike. Both batsmen, not only did they hit the ball at the fielders, but they hit the ball at fielders in the air. Both of them. I mean, the super over wasn't the fact that the winter super over was incredible, but despite the fight back from Northwest, I do think Lions lost it. They absolutely lost it. They should never have lost it in that final over before the super over. But one thing we've seen with Northwest is that they don't give up. There was a very close game that they had against the Titans, which they needed to win to stay in the competition. The Titans just pipped it, but it was very, very close. They fight to the end. They go, you know what? It's not over till it's over. And that performance last night, Ruud de Swart's bowling, both in the super overs, proved that they really do believe in themselves. They really do believe they can beat anybody, and they beat the reigning champions at the reigning champions.
Look, the reigning champions don't look like reigning champions. They look like just...
No, but they are still the reigning champions. And if they had won, they would have all those boys from SAA returning. And I would have said to you, you know what? They could go all the way because of all those returning players from SAA. There was so much on the line for them. And I just don't know how, in normal time, I don't know how they botched it, because they really did botch it.
Look, I think for me, it's trying to blood in those youngsters into the side, and also not having some of your regulars there. But you still have Rassie, you still have Riza. You should be able to be winning games like this. And it's always just been, like, for instance, the Boland game, right? There's no reason why you should be bowled off 130. There is no reason that you can't chase 130. It makes no sense to me, right? And I think what's led this team down is the batting. I think the bowling has tried, even though, you know, Sipamla's not there, Cody Yusuf was in and out and the like. But yeah, look, it is what it is. But it's really disappointing to lose to a Northwest side that, quite frankly, you should be beating. I get it, I see it. And Northwest has players who've done it well. And Yanaman Malan's case is very interesting, right? He poses a threat Historically, yes, but the Yanaman we get now is you'll be reminded of his greatness. In the next game, you won't be reminded. And it's just a 50-50. And it tells with the super over because they went with Mpho and Liba. Right? So, look, it is what it is. But Warriors and Boland, Tim, those youngsters, the King brothers, because CJ King's doing it with the ball, JP's doing it with the bat. We've also got Mo Might and as well as Mo Manak, and also who comes from the Lions, and also Matthew de Villiers, who came from Western Province. How are you feeling about the fact that Matthew's not scoring these runs for Western Province? But yeah, they look like a threat. I still think they're not the best team in this competition. But what do you say about the Warriors?
No, if you look at the team and the way they're going about it, you'd probably say, even though they beat them, you'd probably say, all round, the Rocks and the Rocks, Boland are the better team all round. But on the day that the Northwest, what am I wrong with me today? Warriors pulled through. This is very impressive from them. I didn't think that they would necessarily have this. As you rightly put it, I saw Manek for the Lions last season, and I wasn't sure. I've got to be honest, I wasn't sure. I knew the King brothers. I knew that they had the talent. It was asking a lot of them, but I knew the talent was going to come through. I will be a stuck record by the end of the season. I've always known Matthew's talent. I've always known that he is good enough for this level. And on the next A selection, Matthew must be there. If he's not there, I'm going to be so angry. So angry. But they're playing good cricket. Even somebody like Nyanda, left arm pace bowler, he's bowling really well in this competition. Something I didn't actually see. He's had at least, I think he's had a 4 for and a 3 for in this competition. Really, really impressive bowling with good pace. So the guys that are sort of unsung heroes are pitching up with them. They're not leaning on, for example, Matthew Brzezinski to score the runs. He does from time to time, but they're not leaning on him, and that's a huge plus for them.
Yeah, and Matthew Brzezinski is busy with SAA as well. So, but they did come back this week, so it's going to be interesting to see how they integrate Herman and Brzezinski into those teams. Western Province and the Dolphins. Do you have anything to say about your team, Western Province? Because I think the Dolphins are the best team in this tournament. Yes, they may have lost 2 games recently, but I think the Dolphins do have a say in getting to the top 2 or in getting to that little, eliminator spot. What is it called? Qualifier spot. Yes. And I think the Dolphins bowling is too good for people to undermine and let go. And I think for me, they're the best team in the tournament. But what do you say?
Yeah, you can certainly make an argument for them. For 2 losses, but one of those 2 losses was the double super over against Boland, and that could have gone either way. For large parts of that game, that literally was a flip of a coin. And somehow Keith Dudgeon just pulled the plug out for the Dolphins. So it was a magnificent game of cricket. Really, really enjoyable. They're strong. They are very, very strong. If everything clicks, yeah, they're probably, yes, I'd probably agree with you. They probably are. Because of the experience, they've got slightly more experience than Boland at winning things. So, people like John, yeah, they're going to be there or thereabouts. But as Boland has shown, on their day, they can beat anybody. It's very open. It's very open, which is great. It's good for the competition.
Yes, it is very good for the competition. And so now let's have a look at the the fixtures. But let's talk about CSA T20 Knockout before we go to the fixtures. CSA T20 Knockout has been a blessing in disguise. I think the team that surprised me the most was Mpumalanga. I thought, yes, you can see a team is building on the success of the prior years. You can see with the quality of players that they have. Mohammed Mayat coming in, captaining. They are improving with every tournament, right? They're doing well in the 4-day. They're not losing a lot of games. They are actually getting results and draws. And then on top of that, in the CSA T20 Knockout, they are. The worries are Easterns, Northern Cape Heat, who had traditionally have been the stronger teams. Again, for Easterns, this tournament does not work for them. Actually, they got close in this one, but another disappointing tournament for them. It kind of feels like it's a time of year thing more than anything else. But it's really disappointing that, they're losing games this early in the season. However, the story, the Eastern Cape Inyati, the Knights who look like they want to come back, the Inyati who are fighting to make their way back, fighting to put a case for promotion, the Garden Route Badgers who are a perennial success story, a well-run club, just can't get over the line. Top 3 there, and we've got a game on our hands tomorrow, Tim, with the Garden Route Badgers and the Inyati playing for a shot to take on the Knights. What do you make of that game tomorrow in East London? Because that's probably going to be one of the best T20 knockout games we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I didn't actually see Inyati's prominence in this competition. I thought that they were gonna kind of struggle. I thought the acquisitions for the season were okay. I thought they'd be reasonably competitive, but I didn't think they would be in a knockout game in the T20 competition. So, full credit to them. They've pulled through nicely. They pulled. They got a nice squad there. You and I have often spoken about SWD Garden Route Badgers, as they're now known. They are strong. They are going to win something this season. We've said that in the preview a few weeks before the season started. Their guys are doing well. The guys are coming through. We've spoken about Van Heerden a lot. Juan de Blanche, who was injured for all of last season, made 50 in the last game. Liam Elder, who was at the Warriors last season, had a massive influence in their last game, getting 3 for 7 in 4 overs. So I think they're going to be favourites, really strong favourites. But as you said, you've got a chance. I think they need to score. They probably need to bat first, and they need to put the pressure on.
And they can do that. They've done that, and over the past 2 years, this is the format that they've really enjoyed batting in. Obviously, the One Day Cup, they had a lot more success there, but the Inyati are very dangerous, and by the virtue of them hosting it at home, they can do it. This other team reminds me more of the Dolphins and the Warriors, right? A lot of talent, but when it comes to the pressure moments, they don't arrive. And if you're looking for really good youngsters to move into Division 1, to move into SAA setups, they're sitting at the Badgers. But again, with the Badgers, it's a question of, can George Van Heerden do it? Can Liam Alder do it? Can all their big names, Division 2 level big names, bring it through? And it's going to be very fascinating. Obviously, you've got the Juggernaut, the Knights. We've got Magala, Snyman. It's a hodgepodge of T20 players who used to dominate in the past. And so I think it's going to be a very interesting one on Sunday in Bloem. But yeah, look, I think the Badgers for me have a better chance of taking on the Knights, but it's a very slight one to the Inyati. Let's go to, but it's been all in all, Tim, it's been a great CSA T20 season. Everyone's been able to put their hands up. The only problem is I don't know what's going on at Easterns. I really also don't know what's going on at the Northern Cape. And obviously we know what the challenges that Limpopo have, and it's evident here. Would you have loved to have an SA under 19 in this tournament here?
I would go further. I would have not two divisions of the T20 competition. You have two divisions for the others. That's perfectly fine. I would have everybody playing everybody in this competition because I don't think the difference between the two divisions is as wide in the T20 competition as it is in the other competitions, and B, I genuinely think that the SA20 teams are missing out on a few gems. And they're missing out on a few gems because they don't see these teams playing. And,
well,
what I mean is, if they have a scout watching, I'd be very, very surprised if they were sitting there watching Nyati versus Garden Reed Badgers.
Wow.
They are mostly picking, they're predominantly picking from Division 1.
Division 1.
And I think it would be a great audition for quite a few of them to be playing against the Titans, the Dolphins, Boland, Province. And on that day, they could win. I genuinely think it would be a lot closer than people think. I think they should bring it together. They won't, of course, but I think they should bring it together in the T20 competition.
Look, I agree with you. Sorry, but look, it is available on CSA's YouTube channel. They can go and watch. They can go and see these teams battle it out in Division 2 tomorrow. This game will be on CSA's YouTube channel. The final as well on CSA's YouTube channel. So please do go and check it out. And then obviously in the coming week, in the next week, it is the playoffs of the CSA T20 Challenge, which is Division 1. So let's go to the upcoming fixtures for the next week. Obviously, we know tomorrow, as we've spoken about, the Western Province take on the Lions at Newlands. The Titans take on the Dolphins at Centurion. On Saturday, the Tuskers take on Boland in Pietermaritzburg. And then on Sunday, the Dolphins take on the Lions in Durban. In the CSA T20 Knockout, just want to move this across. There we go. And put that down. There we go. CSA T20 Knockout. On Friday night, you've got the Qualifier 2, the Inyati taking on the Garden Route Badgers in East London. And then the final in Bloom, the Knights take on the winner of Qualifier 2 and to be for the chance to be crowned champion of 2025 CSA T20 Knockout. And then from a Proteas perspective, the Proteas women start again on the 5th of December against Ireland in a T20 in Newlands. So the squads are going to be announced for that one. Please do look out for that. We're going to do a show for that one. We like to see new faces, Mandla, please. And then the big one, the chance to get the whitewash, the chance to make India cry once more. The Proteas men are playing India on Saturday morning at Guwahati. The game starts at 5:30 due to light issues. So please, please, please don't wake up at 6 and be like, how I've missed the toss and I've missed the first 30 minutes. That hour is going to be crucial. And again, to Timber and his boys, win the toss. You know what to do. Win the toss and bat first. You know what to do. Just keep winning that toss. Timber's the luckiest captain I know. And so we're hoping that comes through. So good luck to them. Tim, any final words before we go? Exciting T20 stuff just before the SA20.
Yeah, we have seen a fair few crowds at some of the grounds, which has been nice. They were very sparse at the start of the competition. Now they're getting to the final stages, the qualifiers, and the eliminators. I want to see some more people. I want to see the people there. There are players that are going to be playing in the SA20. This is your prelim. Go and enjoy the cricket. Go and support the boys. We want to see more people at the T20 Challenge and the Division 2 competition.
Yes, and also school's out, exams are over. Please do go to Newlands and to Durban, to Kingsmead, and obviously nothing's happening at the Wanderers, so don't go there. But yeah, you can go around the country to go and watch some of the stars. And it's good that the SAA guys are coming back. So they're filling the teams and a little bit more competition and quality at the end. So good luck to the teams who are going to be battling it out for those final 4 spots in CSA T20. Good luck to the Pro Tiers. We'll be back on Monday to let you know what happened over the weekend and who's going what and all the drama that's going to be happening in Guwahati. It'll be the end of day 3. The match could be done by then. So it could just be a Pro Tiers test review with a whitewash. But it's going to be a short test. Enjoy it. And from ourselves here at the South African Cricket Pod, please do follow us on X. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel. Also, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We see you. We love you in the community. Please follow us there. And also, please buy us some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. You can email us at sacricketpod@gmail.com. Outside of that, from myself and Tim, it's goodbye and lesale kakahiso.